We just kicked off, as you probably realized from the video. And we will start our first session with Miguel, Félix in this room. In general, we have 4 rooms. You see the links on the DataBash website or on our YouTube channel. You see the links to the different rooms. I will already introduce Miguel. Miguel, how are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. All good. And you?
I'm also good. I'm also good. I mean, it's weekend. We can talk a little bit about data. And what else do you want?
Yeah.
Are you ready for your presentation? A little bit nervous?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, it's normal to be nervous on this, right? Even if we do
the normal healthy amount, like a little bit nervous, but not too much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you have any conferences planned soonish?
I will be in Spain next month in SQL Saturdays Madrid, and then I have one in February in Denmark. And then
nice.
That's my next agenda. Let's call it like that.
Have a lot of fun there. I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can already slowly kick off. We have a few seconds left until 9. But if you want, you can already start. So the stage is all yours, and I will moderate the questions in case there are any. I will just forward them to you.
Okay.
Should I interrupt you, or should I wait with the questions until the end?
As you prefer. As you prefer. No problem. Right. You can interrupt if you want. Okay.
I will.
Let me just share my screen.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it's visible.
Yeah, here we are. All right. Then have a good session and see you in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you. So welcome to DataBash. Thank you. Thanks to the organization for having me. Today I'm going to talk about the Power BI Developer Mode and what this can do for business users and not only for developers that are full-time developers. So let's start a little bit by myself. I'm a lead BI architect at iLead Digital. I spent most of my professional career in finance, so around 20 years. So I've done a lot of Excel and data analysis from the finance side. And then around 3 years ago, I was invited to come to the consulting world to do Power BI full time. During my road with Power BI, I was able to be part of the community by answering questions on the forum, by giving some presentations, by also being part of a user group here in Portugal that is Power BI Portugal. And I was also lucky enough 6 years ago to be awarded the Data Platform MVP that I currently also have for Fabric and Power BI. So, and I also have my own blog. So this is a little bit about me, how I came to this data world in per se. But let's go to our next step. So the session today, we will talk a little bit about what is Power BI Developer Mode, what are the main benefits, some limitations, some considerations that are always present in these features that currently it's in preview, but even when they are generally available, there is always some limitations. So what is the folder structure? And you will understand what we mean by this when we talk about what is Power BI Developer Mode. What are the main files, the most important files that we have when we are talking about Power BI Developer Mode, and then hopefully we'll have time to do our demo with everything I plan to present. So currently, who is a Power BI Developer Mode? So we have, if we look at our current way of building business intelligence reports, we can see that with a self-service, it can be, is it an IT? Is it an engineer? Is it a finance guy? Someone that has no knowledge, a designer, a student. So currently, I believe all of them and more. So everyone is currently with self-service, is building Power BI, is building business intelligence reports. And the question about the knowledge, the big knowledge that everyone had to have in the past to build any business intelligence tool or to develop on top of a business intelligence tool is pretty faded, and now you have persons from all areas building their own reports, analyzing their own data without the need to have any specific knowledge. Of course, the specific knowledge always helps to take it to the next level, but you can start really quickly, and everyone is building their own Power BI reports in this case, because we are talking about Power BI, and they are giving, with more or less complex formulas, they are getting the results they expect. So Power BI developer mode, what is it? How can it help us? So Power BI developer mode, it's a suite of features that enables capabilities like external tool supporting, scripts, APIs, and source control. Over here, this seems a lot of a big sentence, a big talk about what is it, and everyone gets a little bit scared when they see this. But basically, Power BI developer mode, it's a new format for saving our reports that will allow us to access the information that is behind in a more easy way, in a more readable way. So instead of having all a single file that is only open through Power BI desktop, when we store the information in this PBIP format, we get a bunch of files inside a folder, and they are editable through Notepad, for example, through a Notepad or through any text editor that you want. This also brings on top of the table the Git integration and the continuous integration and continuous delivery, but we don't need to have that CI/CD to take advantage of Power BI developer mode. It's not only that, it's not only for developers full time, it's for anyone that is developing Power BI. So as I say in the bottom part, so as a project, a report and a dataset artifacts definitions are saved as individual plain text. So in a very simple and intuitive folder structure. So very easy to read and to understand where all our information about our report is. Benefits. So the support of a text editor. So everything is stored as JSON files. Not everything, but we will see what happens with those specific files that are not in the JSON format. And all of them, even the ones that are not in JSON, can be edited in a simple text editor. It's a programmatic generation of artifacts, especially when we talk about the semantic model part, so our tables and our measures. We have two main languages. So over here we have the TMSL, so the tabular model scripting language. This was the one that was present until a few months ago, and is still available. So it's the default one. And then we have the new one that is tabular model definition language. So the TMDL, as the team of Power BI calls it, TMDL or TMDL. You can use one that went GA since August 2nd. And then we also have the source controls, where artifacts can be stored in Git and allow collaboration for multi-user development. And then all our DevOps integration that is also possible. As I said, this is the more advanced one, this source control and continuous integration, but everyone can use this even without the CI/CD integration. So some considerations. So Power BI Desktop isn't aware of these changes with external tools. So this means that every time we do an edit of our files, using Notepad, for example, we need to reopen Power BI Desktop so that we can see the changes that we did. But it was announced in Stockholm last few weeks ago that it will be becoming a Tyndall viewer on the desktop. So we will be able, as we have currently the VEX viewer, we will be able to edit our semantic model, and we will see how we can edit it through programming. We can do it in the desktop version, so the Power BI Desktop will be aware of the changes we do in the immediate way. So sensitive labels are not supported, report linguistic schemas are still not supported yet. So there are a couple of things that aren't supported, and also be aware of this. Power BI project cannot be directly saved on the OneDrive for Business and SharePoint. We will see this point specifically. I will show you what this means. Of course, you can always overcome by saving to the sync folder on your computer locally. Be careful, because when you save it to OneDrive and to SharePoint, you are always, when you save something, you are always syncing all the files in that specific project. So if it's a lot, you can have problems in saving having the previous versions while doing this. Why? Because every time you save, you can be saving hundreds of files at the same time, depending on the size of your report, the number of pages, the number of visuals, and you will see why I'm referring this. So this is a couple of limitations that are acknowledged in the Power BI documentation. Always be aware that this can change in the future. So, but it's always part of our development process, right? The folder structure, as I told you, this type of file stores your data as a folder, and we have two main folders. So we have the first one is the semantic model one. So we have a project name .semantic model folder and a project name .report folder. These two are the main folders that we have, the only two folders that we have as main folders. Then we have subfolders inside of this. Be aware that every time we save a report in this format, the project name that we have over here identified in all these steps, it's basically referring to your file name. So if you call your report sales report, you will have sales report.semantic model. Then you have sales report.report. Then you'll have sales report.PBIP file. So basically just that. So in the semantic model, we'll store all the files for our semantic model and we have, as I said, two ways of storing this. We can have the TMSL, so it's a single file, the model bin. It's a readable file, but it's very extensive because it has all your tables and all your measures and relationships. Everything on your model is inside that file. Then we have the TMDL, so that for each one of the tables that you have, you'll have a file with this format, TMDL. So let's assume that you have two tables, the calendar table and the sales table. You would have on that specific project calendar.tmdl and sales.tmdl. Then the report folder where we store, if we are talking about the previous version, so of Power BI projects, then you will have a single file that is called report.json, where we have all your definitions for your pages, for your visuals, for your bookmarks, for everything. If you are on the new enhanced version, and this new enhanced version alongside with the TMDL can be defined on the options on the previews, you can see that the new advanced version has several folders, and inside those folders we have all the files. For each page, for each visualization, there will be a file. So this is very granular, and you can have all your data, all your visualizations at the very granular level. And then we have the PBIP file. This file is basically just a shortcut to the folders where we have the report, but you can use it or not, and you will see this. Then we have the git ignore for those that are using the CI/CD. So, but let's not focus on this for now. So the main files. So as I said, on the TMSL, we have the model bin, that is the basic file where we have all our information for the semantic model. And then on the model scripting language, the TMSL, the TMSL, we have that bin file. And for the TMDL, the descriptive language, we'll have one folder with all the tables, one file per each table. And we can edit this through text editor or tabular editor, also tabular, all the current external tools that we have. So tabular editor, ALM toolkit already acknowledge TMDL. So that is also a good thing to do, because you can store your files in TMDL, and the external tools that you are used to working with are also already updated. And then if we go to the report folder, we'll get, as I said, one report, one JSON report. And if we are talking about the new enhanced version, we will get for each one of our artifacts inside the page, we'll get a separate folder and a separate file. This is ideal for code development and conflict resolution. So let's go to the demo. I think it's much easier to see what happens when we look into a demo. So we will try to see how to update some measures, how to do some query updates, and then also try to do some report pages and backgrounds. So let me go back to Power BI. So I have this simple report. As you can see, the report is a very basic one, nothing too particular. This is saved, this is stored on our PBIP format. So as you can see, so this is a PBIP format, so it's the normal one, no problem. And we have a couple of things over here. So we have our measures table, where we have all our measures. We have a sales summary and a detailed page, so it's the drill through page. And then we have all these pages where someone left it all blank. And then we have over here in the end a sales split where we have some bookmarks. Okay, so everything is working correctly. In this bookmark, let me also just point out this this question where we have over here a filter, a class L filter. You will understand why I'm referring this. And then also on our sales summary, you can see that our sales are not formatted as arrows, and neither is our margin. Okay, so a couple of problems, a couple of questions over here. And if we go to the background, if we go to our measures, we can see, for example, that we have in total quantity, we have this very generic description over here. And on total sales, we also have this generic description. So this is basically just setting up part of the mood for what we are going to do next. So first of all, as I said, we need to go to the settings. I already have this done, but if you go to the settings of Power BI, and if you go to preview, you will see over here that we have the Power BI project save option. As I said, if you only select this option, you'll get the TMSL language. So the scripting language with one file per report and one file for the semantic model. If you turn on these two options, you'll get then the new versions. I advise you, if you are testing this out, to turn on these two. It's much easier, but I leave it up to you if you want to use the previous version of the PBIP or the enhanced version. So pretty easy to do this. Let's do File, Save As, and if you look at over here, and if you select PBIP, you'll see that you are not able to do a save as on the over here on the OneDrive. It's not possible to do the PBIP. Sorry, apologies. So let me just go back. Let's go browse this device, and over here on the data batch 24 that I have, let me create a new folder. I call it project. I'm just doing this to make it easier for me to find this out. But if I open this and I save it over here as a PBIP file, let's just store A cool option that they have done recently was that we can go over here, we can see where the file is, and if I click over here, it will automatically open the project folder. So it's really simple to go to that project. We don't need to find out where it is. So as you can see, as I said, we have, so basically the two parts that we were referring. So the name of the report, AdventureWorks report, and then .semantic model. If we go inside these folders, as you can see over here, we have our definitions, and we have the bookmarks, we have all our pages, and we have, in terms of our semantic model, we have the definitions, and then inside the definitions, we have all our things. So let's see how can we edit this. So let me just open the Visual Studio Code. I like the Visual Studio Code because it allows you to open a folder, but you can use it, as I said, with a Notepad ++ or a Notepad, a simple Notepad, it's easier. But over here, let me open this folder because you will see that it's much easier to move along the different folders that we have. So let's go over here. Let's open that projects folder. That's why I created a new one. It's not mandatory, but okay. So when we open this, you can see that I have all the files that I had that I presented to you on the Explorer are over here. Let's start by our semantic model part. Okay. So starting with the semantic model, let's go to check two things. So let's start by the calendar table. And on the calendar table, let me just go back to my report just to see one thing. As you can see, we have a couple of columns and we have end of week. Okay. Over here on this table, I want to add a start of week. If I did this using the normal way, I would need to go to transform data. Be aware that the previous way, you can also do it. You can go over here and do whatever you always do. It's not because you are storing this as a PBIP file that you lose the options to edit everything on desktop version. Okay, we are just having a faster way to do some things. Okay, but I want to add a start of week over here, and I also want to make the changes on some measures. Okay, let me close this. As I said, Power BI Desktop is not aware of the changes, so we always need to have this stored as we always have to have this closed. So let me start by, let's go over here. As you can see, for each column, we have the information about that date, and we can always make changes to this. But let's start by adding that end of week. So the end of week, I just need to copy this part of the code over here. So I just copy any other column that I need. Let me just add some spaces over here. Be careful with this indentation. It's always important to have it. Let's do a start of week. It's a date time. I want to do the same format as I have for the end of week. And the lineage tag is one important thing that shows up everywhere. Usually people are very afraid of this, but the lineage tag is just a unique ID. So there is no problem in having a different value over here. You can do one of two things. You can just go over here and just write whatever you want, and you can call it start of week lineage, for example, or you can simply delete this line. Why? Because when you save your report once again, it will do the new lineage tag. Okay, so don't be worried about lineage tag overall. But I also need, since this is a AM code table created, I also need to add that step. Otherwise, this column that we created is not acknowledged. So let's do the following. Let me just copy this. We need to follow the rules of M. So this will not be the last step. So I need to add a comma in the end of this. I can just copy paste this. Now I can do start. Now I can just refer to the previous step over here. Again, it's always the question about the getting the correct M code. So I need to change also my name of my column, and in this case, it will be date start of week. So if I do this, Now I just need to change my last step over here and start over. So doing this, we are able to add a new step. We will see this in a few minutes. Let me just continue to the next one. Now let me go to my measures table. So if I need to update anything on my tables, I can do it directly by code. If you go to any of these columns, of these tables, you can see, for example, these ones are based on SQL database. So if we wanted to update our SQL database, if we did not have any parameters to our reporting, that is a best practice, we could also do it by just simply, for example, just searching for this one. And if we do this, we can see that this is everywhere on these files, and then we could just replace them. I will not replace them, otherwise the report will break. But it's just for you to see how easy it is to find out where that Adventure Works 2019 is identified. Okay, so let me just close this one and let's go to our measures. As I said, I have a measures table, and in this measures table, you can see that I have all my docs. This is very readable, as you can see, so nothing is very strange. We have all our formats. We have our DAX syntax. We have our lineage tag once again. We have our comments on this, and as you saw, this was the measures that we were using. So let me just total quantity calculation, and let's go over here to the bottom. For example, on this one, let's just do also total sales by line, for example. So I just updated some comments, and if I copy, and if I just go, for example, to total cost, and if I add this one over here, I just do 1, 2, 3, total cost values calculation. So in this one, I didn't even have a definition for this specific metric. So this is part one. We also saw that in terms of total sales, the format was incorrect, right? If you remember. So my total sales, I didn't have the arrow. So let me just copy over here this part. And the other one that was incorrect was the margin. So let me just go over here to my margin. So Control F, margin. I have a couple of them. So my margin is over here. And let me just paste this in. And let's just see what happens when we do this. So I can do a file, save all. I'm just saving this. Let's now go back to our project. Let's go back to our project and let's open our PBIP file. So when we open our PBIP file, let's see what happens. So since we are doing changes to the semantic model, there is a couple of things that will happen. So as you can see, this error, I was expecting it. This is the question that I said about having the indentation correctly. So you see partition calendar at the end on the table is incorrect. So the Tyndall format is incorrect. So if we go back over here to our calendar table, this is the error that we have. So this partition should be like this. So if I just save this, now if I reopen my file, everything should work as needed. So this is very important to be careful with this partition, with this indentation. In this case, it was the partition when I did enter that went down. But as you can see, the file cannot be opened because it contains a table that have multiple columns referenced. So this is also an error that I know that was happening. Why? And in this case, it's easy to identify because over here, when we have this, we have source column end of week and source column end of week. Okay, so we also need to change this to start of week. If I do this pretty quickly, again, this is I'm showing some of the errors that you may encounter, but when you start to work with this, you will see that it's very easy to not fall into these traps. Okay, because you just need to be careful with indentations when you add a new column to change the start. But as you can see, it's opening, and there are a couple of things that you need to know. First of all, one or more relationships have been changed and need to be refreshed manually. Some tables have incomplete data. This is because we added the information about the new start date. So what happens is that like we do running the M language behind it, it needs to acknowledge that new column. So we need just to do a refresh of this and a refresh of this. The first one is because the calendar table is a dimension table and has relationships with other tables. The second one is to refresh the calendar table. As you can see, we are only refreshing that specific table. So now everything is working. Let's also check another thing, that is this one. So we have our sales as euros and we have our margin as euros also. And if we go to our backend, we can see that our total sales now is total sales by line, our total quantity is total quantity calculation, and our total cost that didn't even have any description, now it has total cost values calculation. So everything that we wrote in the backend is now working. So, and if we go to our calendar table, as you can see, start of week column is over here without any big changes. So let me just close this. Let me save it because we want to have the information stored properly. Let me just close this part. Another thing that usually people tend to do, and let me just go over here. One thing that happens is, okay, this margin, I don't want to call it margin. I want to call it, for example, margin total value, for example. Let's do it like this. If I do this, I rename this measure. Now, when I open my report, sorry, it's this one. When I open my report, you will see that a couple of things will happen. So first of all, we will have some measures that will break because that specific measure was referred in other metrics. Second of all, my visuals will break also. And this is a very common thing that happens. Sorry, I didn't save the file. That's why it's not, sorry, I did the change, but I didn't save it. So let me just save this. Okay, now it's saved. Now I can open it. So why? Because when we change the name of a measure, for example, or of a column, the report itself is referred in, sorry, I have an error over here. When we are talking about adding spaces, as you can see, you need to have this quotation. Okay, we need to do this, and this was not an expected error on my side. I didn't want to force it as I did on the other ones, but this one was is also good to see that this type of things. And you can tell, oh, but it's so much easier to do it on the desktop. Of course it is, but let's assume that you want to do this for several reports. If you have 20 different semantic models where you need to change this, it's going to be very hard to do it in a very fast way. Okay. As you can see over here, as I said, we have a couple of things that happen. So we have these these three measures that broke, and we have these visualizations over here that were also broken. Okay. All of this is broken. So let's close this. And let's go back to our, first of all, let's start by looking over at margin and just do a replace. So where it says margin, I want to replace by margin total value. So let's see, let's look what we have over here. Sorry, over here I need to search. Let's search for this one because it's the one that is referred by a DAX calculation, correct? So if I just do this, I can replace this value. It's just one, and it's stored. So we have the part of the semantic model handled. But now the question is in terms of the report itself. And now let's go into the report. The report has several parts, as I said. So we have over here the definitions. We have the pages. For each page, we have a section. And this section is defined over here on the pages, okay? So we will go to deleting all those pages that are blank, but for now, let's focus on that margin. So if you remember, I had this margin was identified in several locations. So let's do one thing. Let's go over here to this one, and let's search for margin. Even more, I know that this margin is stored on the specific measures. Let me just do this margin. If I do this, As you can see, we have a couple of them. So property margin, it's the one that we own. Let's just see what happens when I'm over here. When I look at it, let me just go to this one to be easier to read. So when I go over here, I can see that this specific visual, and in this case, we are talking about a scatter chart, is using my margin. Let me just click over here again. My margin, that is this property from the measures table, and then it's referring everything to the value that we need. So as you can see, my field is a measure, and that measure is this measure. So if we do the following, if we replace all this margin by our margin total value, and now if I just do replace, it will replace 10 occurrences of this. Now if we go back and open this, if we open our PBIP file, everything is stored automatically when we use Visual Studio Code and when we do this replacement over here. So all the files are saved automatically, so we don't need to do anything else. So while this is opening, we will see that we just did a bold change on our report. So this is very, as you can see, nothing already is broken. So we did a change of our measures. The three measures are working. The values are continue to work, and if you see on the detail page, everything is working. So we just did a bold change of the names without the need to go to each page and do it manually. So click over here, select, okay, this is the one that is going wrong, let me replace it. In this case, it was the margin, so it was this margin, and we just need to replace it, okay? So very easy, very quickly to done about replace. Let's see another thing. Let's see all these pages that we have over here. So we want to get rid of this, and on top of this, we also want to move this page from this spot and put it as the second page, okay? Let's just close this, and now let's look again to our report folder. So our report folder, as I said, we have a couple of things over here. We have let me just close this one. We have the pages definition that refers to the order. So I know that page 1, it's this one, page 2, it's this one, and then this is the last page. So everything that is not this page, I need to delete. So I need to delete all of this in the middle. And I have a couple of options. In this case, I already know what are the pages that I want to delete, because all of them don't have any subfolders. They only have this page set up. Why? Because I don't have any visuals. As you can see, this report that is the first page has this visual. So, and for each visual, I have a subfolder. So just quickly select over here these ones and just delete. So this one is correct. Now I go to the next one. I open all of this once again. So, okay. So let's start by deleting all of this. So just delete. Now I have 2 pages with visuals, and if everything goes right, I can see that. Okay, so all of this is also to be deleted. And finally, if everything goes well, this one we can close. All of this can also be deleted. Okay, so now we have only 3 pages. And if you look at this, we have section 050, section 5018, and section 09. One thing that is important to understand, these names, the folder names, are not the names that are for the pages. If you go inside this folder, and if you look at the page JSON, you'll see that this is the name that we have. So what this means is that this name that we have inside the file needs to match the name you have inside this JSON. So if I change this to page 1 folder, you will see that this will continue to work properly, okay? No problem will happen. In this case, we also want to change the order of the page, so let me just move this page over here and just do it like this. We can also change the active page. In this case, I don't want, and let's just save all. On top of this, and I also want to go to, and if you remember, I showed you that on one of the pages, we have filter. Let me just search for this L in terms of. So if I search for this, let me just clear this one out. You can see that we have bookmark value and we have this JSON. If you see this value over here, you can see that we have a where condition. So basically it's a filter. On the filter pane, we have a where condition. This filter is also aligned on the bookmark because the bookmark was forced to be with the selected data. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's replace all of this by age. So let's do this. And sometimes this is very difficult to understand where a specific filter we have applied is. In this case, I know that is L, but I could also try to search for the property that I'm using. So in this case, the class, the entity is products, right? It's based on the products and all of that. So we could also do that. But let's just replace all of this. And now let's go back to our report and let's see what happens. So I'm expecting to have less pages on my report, to have a change in the order of the pages, and to have a filter that is changed. Okay. So really quickly, let's just open this report and see what happens. Okay. So yeah. So we have only 3 pages. Everything was gone. We have a change between the 2 pages that we had. So now my cell split is changed and my class is also changed. This error, it's a problem on my report. Okay, it's not because of PBIP. As you can see, even if I change this, it's giving an error. So let me just replace it over here. I think I need to replace it like this. So this is a problem on my report itself. I didn't make a change a long time ago, so I need to do some updates. So it's not because I did a change of that specific visual. Okay, it's on this report itself. I didn't show you that it was not working previously. Okay, but as I said, so as you saw, we did a bold change and we did that. I think we still have some minutes, so let me try really quickly to show you another feature that I think is really cool and that can really help. So let's do don't save. I have a report over here. Hopefully I can do this really quickly. That is the budget report. This budget report basically is a budget that is done on the site, and I want to merge these 2 reports into one. And this report has 2 things. It has the tables, okay, the budget, the calendar, and the color, and then it has the visuals. Okay, so let's do one thing really quickly. Let's file, save as. Let's store this as a PBIP file really quickly on our project folder over here. Let's store this. Okay, so this is running. Let's close this. It doesn't make sense because I need to compare this with something, right? And having only the budget, it doesn't make sense. So I need to incorporate this into my cells. Let me just close this file and now go back to, in this case, I just need to go back to the Explorer. It's much easier on the Explorer, as you will see. Let me go to my semantic model and let's start by doing 2 things. First of all, I need to copy my budget and my color table. My calendar table, I already have one on the other report. So let's just copy this one and add it to our semantic model over here. So let's go to tables and just add it. The second part is that these specific 2 tables have some relationships. So let's go back to the Visual Studio Code because it's easier to see. If we check, we already have our budget report over here. Let's go to definitions, relationships, and as you can see, we have our relationships. Once again, this is the lineage tag. You don't need to have anything in particular. You can do whatever you want in this name, but let's just copy this and let's go to our semantic model over here, definitions, relationships, and let's just do an enter over here and just copy this. Once again, be careful with the indentation. Let's just store this file. The last part, it's also easy. Let's do one thing. Let's go to our budget. Let's go to our report, definitions, pages, and let's copy this folder, okay? Let's just do Control-C and paste it inside the definitions of our report. So let's paste it over here. One last thing, as you remember, we always need to have this page reference on the page JSON file. So let's just go over here. We already have that file open, and let's just do this. Let's add this one over here. So, and let's save this file. Now let's open our PBIP file for our AdventureWorks model. Okay, so let's go to the report, open our PBIP file. If we open this, hopefully, if everything goes well, we just merge two different reports into one without a major problem. As you can see, I just copy-paste some files from one folder to the other one, and then just made some references on top of this. Since we added things, we need to apply the changes. We have those two tables added, the budget and the color. It's just a refresh. Now I have my report, my budget over here. If I pick up and I have my total sales over here, you can see that everything is not working currently. Why? Because we have an additional table that does not have any relationship with the products, but we can just do this. For example, just do this one, do a new relationship over here. When I do this, and we could also create this manually on the report, but as you, on the file. But as you can see, now everything is working, and we can even have a comparison of a specific year. So, and if I just add my sales also over here to this chart, you can see, for example, if I select 2024, for example, we only have our budget, but if I select 2023, I have my budget and my action. So pretty easy to make the copy paste from one project to the other. So as you can see, we went through most of this. So why to use developer mode? So the flexibility, the options, if you don't have external tools available, so you can use Notepad. Every computer has Notepad, so it's possible to use it. To do the copy paste between folders, you just need to use the Explorer. Improve readability. As you could see, the model and the report is very readable. You can understand everything that you have, and they are developing tools to have IntelliSense inside the Visual Studio if you like to work with Visual Studio. Bulk updates, as you saw, we were able to update a measure in one go. Copy pasting, page changes, specific visual definitions, and if you want, of course, CI/CD. So these are my contacts. Please reach out, and I'm available for any questions. Let me see if there is any questions over here on the chat. I don't think there is any questions, but if there is any questions, please let me know. And hopefully you can take advantage of the Power BI developer mode. Be careful that it's still on preview, but my usage has been pretty stable, so I was able to use it pretty well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the team of DataBash for having me.
Maybe I should unmute myself.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Really great session. I also, you know, I'm also a really big fan of the developer mode. From it's also one of the best updates Power BI had since many years. So far, there are no questions. In case you have any questions, let us know right now. And if not, we will close the session in a few seconds.
And then the new version with the new language, descriptive language, it's so much easier to read the file than the enhanced reporting. So we just have one file per each one of the visuals for each one of the tables, and we can really just drive through all everything. So it's really great, I think. Really good. And when they incorporate it inside Power BI Desktop as they are planning, it will be also very good. I saw it live in Stockholm. I don't know if you went to that session, but it was an amazing session by Rui Romano and the team. Yeah, really great things coming forward, I think, for developers and not only developers, because that's the main point.
Absolutely. So there is one question. Rishi asked, how can we programmatically update a whole set of reports models? Can we use this to, for example, add consistent branding?
Correct. So part of these files that we have all the definitions on our report. So even on the files, and if you go through the files that you have there, you have a couple of them that are very mandatory for all the branding. One of them is the theme, and the other one is the backgrounds that usually people tend to have, or the colors or something like that. So, but the theme is present as a part of the resources folder. And if you go there, you can programmatically change all your reports. So if you do, for example, if you have a theme, a JSON theme file, you can just do a script and just replace all the folders, all the theme files inside your folders of Power BI project, and just in bulk change them, and then everything will work properly. So no need to do one by one. So if you are talking about 100 reports, for example, it's just as simple as do a copy paste of that theme JSON file to the folders on those 100 Power BI reports. Of course, you don't need to do it manually. You can use then automation tools. There is a lot of them. I saw people doing it in PowerShell. I saw people doing it in C. So there is a couple. If you go online and if you just search, do me a script to copy paste from folder A to folder B, you'll see a lot of the old school programming tricks, and also new school, let's call it like that, right? And you can do it easily. So for the branding, it's very easy. And then you just need to have it, because you just need to push it on to your service. So it's very easy to do it. So no problem. And you don't need to do it one by one. That is the main.
Also, in addition, thank you very much, Miguel. In addition, I've seen in Belgium a session of Rui Romano that you can also programmatically add some kind of constraints while deploying, or you will be able to in the future. For example, to make sure it's always on page 1, or there's always a specific logo. And in Stockholm, I'm not sure if you've seen that, Miguel, there was a session of Michael Kowalski about the semantic link labs. And this would be an option like the example Miguel mentioned. You can, with one line of code, change the theme file. Just to add what Miguel said, to add 1-2 more possibilities.
Yeah, correct. On the semantic, so when you have the reports already published, you update them manually, as I said, manually or programmatically in your source files. But then, as you said, and I also was in that session, it was an amazing session. Using semantic link, you can change the theme in all of your reports that are already online without the need to do publish. That's a big effortlessly option. Yes. Also a big fan of semantic link.
All right. Any other questions? Except for this, Roman said, thanks for sharing.
Thank you, Roman.
I can totally agree. Thank you so much for sharing. And Roman, see you in a week, I guess. And if there are no other questions, then I thank you very much again, Miguel. Great session, and hope to see you again soon. And wish you a great weekend.
Okay, thank you. And once again, thank you to everyone in the team. I have the pleasure to know Thomas and Nicola, and also you in person. The rest of the team I don't, but thank you everyone for all the great work, because this is a great conference, and hopefully it will continue for many years. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Okay, bye.